best sports show in New Mexico.
For 5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Get used to Victor Wembanyama everywhere. Throwing out first pitches, doing your commercials. He'll be on Good Morning America, Today's Show. He'll be everywhere you might see Victor Wembanyama because, well, he's the new face of the NBA. At least for tomorrow he is. And then you learn about Scoot Henderson and you learn about the rest of these guys. Draft day tomorrow, pre-draft today. What's up and Merry Wednesday. Hope you're well. First day of summer is today. 21st, I believe today to be the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, DC. I'm not sure it's the longest show of the year, just the longest day of the year. How you living?
What it do?
You all right?
Yeah, all good. I did not know today was the first day of summer.
21st, right? First, I mean.
On the calendar.
Is it on the calendar? I mean, it's always just been in my head that way. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Happy summer.
Happy summer to you. I guess the pool's open. And the kids are out of school now, and you just go to On the Spot Automotive Detailing and get your car ready for summer. All right, big stuff going around, but not right. I mean, it's a lot of gobbling, a lot of speaking, a lot of chirping, a lot of talking, a lot of hype. All I know for sure is Victor Wembanyama is going number 1 to San Antonio. Other than that, do you know anything else for sure tomorrow in this draft?
I think the top 3 picks.
You think they're set?
I think it's Victor Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, the wing out of Alabama, and Scoot Henderson, who took the G League route last year. 1, 2, 3. Now, the question could be, is it Portland taking Scoot Henderson with the 3rd overall pick, or does that get moved in a deal?
To Miami? I mean, is Miami really thinking about sending Bam to Portland?
No, Portland wants Bam.
Yeah, there's no way, right?
Yeah, Miami was like, Portland was like, oh, so y'all want Damian Lillard? Boom, we want Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, and this whole Bam for Lillard thing doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't make anybody better or what they want to be. I don't know that I think that the Bam thing is real from the Miami side. But that's where this has been, right? I mean, there's been all this speculation about Dame Lillard finally getting out of Portland and going to Miami would be the spot and putting together a package with Tyler Hero and whatever. And to your point, Portland came back and said, no, we kind of want Bam Adebayo and we're going to keep Dame Lillard. And I don't know that this goes anywhere. And so the number 3 overall pick. So I think you're right on Brandon Miller. It sounds like everything Charlotte seems to have gotten over the gun issue, the whole issue with the Alabama star. If you recall, he was the one back in, I want to say January-ish, was the young man that was involved in the situation where he is alleged to have, and I believe it's been proven, that he drove the vehicle, drove the gun to a teammate who's now a former teammate, drove the vehicle with the gun in the vehicle, claimed that he didn't know the gun was in the vehicle. That gun was used to kill a young lady. No suspension, no nothing. His coach stood by him. They went into the NCAA tournament as the number 1 overall seed. Got beat in the Sweet 16 by who?
Team from the Mountain West.
That's right. San Diego State beat the number 1 overall seed. That's right. So they got knocked out in the round of 16. But it feels like that's where Charlotte is absolute, right?
Yeah, because Scoot Henderson is a point guard, and Charlotte still believes in LaMelo Ball, even coming off of injury. So you had Brandon Miller to the wing, so you're more focused on team development as opposed to just going after the best players. I think Scoot Henderson does have a legit case of being the number 2 overall pick. You look at the dude.
How much have you seen him? Because I've none.
Not a lot being in the G League, but he's a little smaller, 6'2", 195, 19 years old, but he looks like he's been in the NBA for 4 years.
Is that what Portland needs?
Portland just needs talent at this point in time, and they got to just tell Dame to bleep or get off the pot, man. Like, do you want to keep telling the whole world that you want to win in Portland and it's about bringing in a star, or do you want to leave? Because this is, when you have the number 3 overall pick, this is your opportunity to either swing for the fences and try to bring in a Bam Adebayo or flirt with Zion Williamson in New Orleans, or you just keep acquiring talent and say, Dame, this is what it is, man.
I think they're more apt.
Players on the roster, and you either play here and actually finish the season and not sit out, or do you want to trade?
I think they're more apt to get Zion than Bam Adebayo. So is this what you're hearing on the pick? So the Blazers could send the number 3 overall and the number 23 overall, last year's number 7 overall pick, Shaden Sharp, and Anthony Simmons. I'm sorry, Simons. Anthony Simons. It's quite a haul actually for Adebayo, but
That's overpaying for Bam,
right?
Easy.
Don't you
Yeah.
think? I mean, it's quite a haul.
Like number 3 could get you thinking. Like, all right, do we want to move on from Bam? But if you're Miami, that doesn't make sense for you either, because then you just turn into Portland where you have Jimmy Butler and a number 3 overall pick, and you're looking for.
Well, what's their number 3? I mean, do you need another guard? Right? They're small already. They're already small. If you watch them, what was the issue with them? They struggled. Well, obviously everybody struggled with Nikola Jokic, but they struggled with the bigs. So they were. It just doesn't make sense. That's why I think it makes more sense if they're going to make one of these moves. Portland, Zion. Now, do they want that mess? Do they want to take on Zion? Do they want all the heat that's coming with Zion these days, between his work ethic, between his adult film star sex tape being released potentially, that whole bribery? Do you want that? But you want to do something, right? Because I don't know that there's anything in this draft that makes Portland with Dame Lillard, you just go, okay, Portland's legit.
Oh, because you're drafting in the top 3.
Okay.
Your team has holes. There's a lot of young, intriguing pieces on Portland, but young, intriguing pieces takes time. And Damian Lillard doesn't have time. So that's the thing. I think if you're Portland, it's what do you do? You've had Damian Lillard the last couple of seasons, keeps telling you he wants to win in Portland, but that move hasn't been out there to bring another player, and you've actually made the moves to get rid of guys, the CJ McCollum trade. And I don't know what Portland sees in their future. If they add another young player to the roster, it's intriguing talent, but you're not winning with Dame, and he's not finishing the season last year. He's just sitting out. That's not getting you anywhere.
Yeah. So are you suggesting they get rid of him and move on? And
it's time to trade Damian Lillard.
And for what? You've got such an asset. I mean, it's easy for you and I to sit here and say they should rebuild and go into this rebuild when you're sitting in that
it's not
chair.
Doing them anything.
No, I get it, but nobody wants to go into the rebuild, right? Nobody wants to say, all right, yeah, we're going to suck for 3 years, right? Because I'm
not
not
even making the play-in with Dame.
No, I know. So you got a guy who is considered
every deal. You got future first-round picks involved.
So what would you do?
I'd talk to Dame and say, like, dude, it's at this point in time, they haven't been able to make the move to acquire a number 2 for Damian Lillard.
So it's on him to go get a
So
free
like,
agent.
do you want to stay here and we'll have these young players and see if we can win with this young roster? Which,
Or-
if you play, you can.
Mhm.
If you look, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in Oklahoma City found a way to be productive last year. Or do you want to trade? Because he's been waffling. He said, these are teams I would be intrigued in playing for in Miami and Brooklyn, but then I want to win in Portland. So you got to nail down, what does Dame want to do? And if he wants to win in Portland, you take best player available at number 3 and go.
I just don't know that another guard that is going to need the ball. And I don't know enough about Scoot Henderson's game. I just don't. Is that him at number 3 going to make them contenders, winners, playoff team?
They're not a playoff team right now with Dame.
Right. No,
so
I get it.
Either you draft and develop, then deal with it
and move on. They're the ones to watch right now. To me, they're the ones to watch. What does New Orleans do? Can they do anything? Is there anything on the Chris Paul trade market that happens? Do you think anything happens before? I don't. Before the draft on Chris Paul,
I don't.
I just don't see what's there.
It's nothing that's gonna be immediate unless one of the Lakers or Clippers use a future first round pick or come into a pick this year that interests Washington just to move on off Chris Paul.
I think they're going to try to get him on the cheap. I think everybody's going to just try to get him on the cheap. All right, so we'll watch what's going on at the top of the draft or throughout the draft. Are there going to be a bunch of trades? You figure in today's drafts, like watching the NFL draft, all the in-draft movements, now there's not as many rounds, right? Because there were like fifths for fourths and thirds and all kinds of movement in the NFL draft. I don't know that I expect to see it. It's the Spurs, the Hornets, the Blazers, then the Rockets and the Pistons. Those are your top 5 picks. Victor Wembanyama will go number 1. And after that, it's probably going to be Brandon Miller from Alabama going to Charlotte. And after that, the Scoot Henderson, again, who I think is a mystery to so many people, right?
Yeah, because he played in the G League last year.
Where do you put Amen Thompson, another G League guy who I'm looking and seeing really high?
Henderson and the Thompson brothers, chose your G League route over playing 1 year in college basketball. They would have been one-and-done stars in college basketball, and that's those are the unknown. Because at least when you look down to the other players and you probably watched them play NCAA tournament, you've heard of their names, so there's more familiarity. I think that the Thompson twins,
do they go both of them in the top 5, 6, 7?
They're top 10 picks. I don't think it just goes straight on the rankings. I think Cam Whitmore, a wing out of Villanova, young player, 3-and-D type of guy, very in demand in this NBA. Walker and Tyler Hendricks, stretch 4s, are going to be interesting. But it's the G League guys just because they're an unknown just to the regular basketball watcher, because you're not getting a lot of G League games. You're not seeing a lot of G League Ignite and these other squads that these players are choosing to go to over college. But it's the upside with those 3 are tremendous.
All right, we're here for you, 505-246-0610 if you want to get in. That's the 377 Brewery hotline. It is also the Sports Animal text line, so you can text the Sports Animal or talk to us at those numbers, 505-246-0610. Emails, Jeff at sportsanimallabq.com, JJ at sportsanimallabq.com. On the Twitter, it's _JJ Bucket. On the Facebook, the OD in the AM. Watch the show there. It's live on our Facebook page. It's live on Comcast Channel 26. Adrian's producing on ProView Networks. It's live on their YouTube channel as well. Guest list today, 9 o'clock this morning. New Mexico State baseball coach Jake Angier is going to be with us. He was hired yesterday, the now former pitching coach at Oregon. So he comes from a Pac-12 program, a successful Pac-12 program. He's going to join us. We'll talk about the state of New Mexico State baseball and them moving forward and what he has to say coming up at 9 o'clock. And I'm looking forward to asking him about how he's going to turn this around. This is a program that, a couple of years ago was in the NCAA tournament, and then this year fired their coach early in the season. So how does he turn this thing around as they go into a new league and the challenges? Looking forward to talking to the new New Mexico State baseball coach coming up at 9 o'clock. When we come back, there's a lot of NFL stuff as mini camps and everything's going on. He's the fastest receiver in the NFL. He outruns all the DBs, but is he going to be able to outrun the law? An allegation of an altercation for the fastest receiver in the NFL. Next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, That's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
He's fast. Fastest receiver in the NFL. Been that way for a while, I think. But can he outrun this? Tyreek Hill is the Dolphins wide receiver. He is now under investigation in an alleged altercation in Miami. Assault battery is the allegation at a Miami Beach marina. According to the police and WPLG in Miami, he allegedly hit a marina employee during what is described as a disagreement on Sunday. There's a report that Hill slapped the employee on the back of the head. I don't know if that's, that could be taken so many different ways. Dolphins, quote, we're aware of the situation, been in contact with Tyreek, his representatives. We will reserve further comment at this time. And you got a little investigation with your boy Tyreek Hill. I guess in the offseason we're here, guys are out, and we're hearing stuff between whatever. I don't know what to make of this. I'm not going to make much of it. I just know that I got one of the most high-profile receivers in the league under investigation again.
Yeah, these dudes.
Right?
It's one that it's, do you know who I am? I can do this type of deal.
Maybe. Yeah. Don't keep your hands off people, man. All right. The NFL's big noise yesterday was the gambling policy. Does everybody else have this issue or just the NFL? Because does it just seem the NFL, baseball should have this issue, or do they just have it better under control? Basketball, right? Or is it just an NFL issue?
I would not believe it's just an NFL issue.
Okay, why do we
They're
always
the ones attacking it?
Yeah.
Right now, harder than anyone else.
Okay. The NFL is trying to go on the offensive, and I think they need to. In the wake of recent violations by players and suspensions of gambling. Do we all agree? Preface, okay? Do we all agree, or do you think? Because I know there's a faction of people who think whatever, man, let them bet on the games. Betting's legal, and let them bet. Do we all agree that guys should not be betting on their sport or stuff that they have inside information to keep the sanctity, the what's the word I'm looking for? The game, give me the word I'm looking for. The word they use all the time, what of the game, the purity, making sure that we know everything's on the up and up, that it's not fixed. You know what I'm saying? What's the word I'm looking for? I can't find it. All right. Do we agree that guys should not be able to bet on their own sport?
Yes.
Okay. So, because I know there's people who don't.
Yeah, but because you're ultimately profiting off of those endorsements from your league and teams, because that revenue is coming in, and all that revenue ultimately gets put back in player salaries at some point in time.
That's right.
So you just can't bet on NFL football if you're an NFL football player.
Yeah, I guess the people who are screaming, oh, the hypocrisy, they take the money from these gambling sites and DraftKings and FanDuel and MGM and Caesars, but why shouldn't they be able to? No, if you don't see it, the problem, you need to open your eyes. There's not a hypocrisy here. They're yes, they've embraced gambling. Why? A, because it pays. B, because it was there. There was no getting away from it, okay? Everybody was gambling on damn football anyway. The players are benefiting from it because it continues to go into their salary pool, and their salaries continue to go up. But you just cannot have the people in the game betting on their games, whether it's simply because of optics and perception or because of reality. You just can't. And so the NFL is kind of doubling down on its efforts to reinforce their gambling policies. All rookies are now required, and they should be, and I don't know why this is just now, to attend mandatory education sessions. League officials will make in-person visits to team facilities to emphasize and clarify what you can and cannot do. There's 6 key rules that the NFL is going to emphasize, okay? Number 1, don't bet on the NFL. Pretty simple. Number 2, and this is how some guys just got popped, don't gamble at your team facility while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel. Now, look, this doesn't mean you can't play cards with your buddies and put $1,000 on a hand. That's the stuff, you're gambling on the dominoes or the cards or that kind of stuff. Don't have somebody place a bet for you. Hey, man, here's 10G. Go put it on us. You can't do that. Don't share team inside information. Seems pretty easy. This one's okay. I mean, I guess during the season, you're probably not in Vegas or in casinos a lot, but don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season. And don't play daily fantasy football. So they can play a yearly fantasy football. They can get on, have a team, but they can't play daily fantasy football on one of those sites. So those are your 6. You got a problem with any of them?
Not at all.
I mean, it all seems, the integrity of the game is what the word I was looking for. Thank you. To me. The integrity of the game. Are we clear? I'm listening if you want to tell me why this is stupid, but it's not. And I hear all the, this is stupid. That's not really a take. That's something stupid.
You don't want. We've been through it. We've seen it with referees,
players,
managers. You don't want people involved in the game messing with the game, getting on the wrong side,
or the perception thereof, because that could be just as dangerous.
That affects your fan base. That affects everything. Yeah, fans gamble on sports. Fans will continue to gamble on sports and play daily fantasy sports and go to the sports books and have fun. And it is becoming more widely available, which is why these leagues have to be proactive about it. Because it's right there on your phone in a lot of states where you don't have to drive to the casino. You don't have to drive somewhere. You just pop out your phone and you start doing it. And that's what got a lot of these players in trouble, because they're just sitting back, killing time at the facility, talking, looking at bets. And there's just things you can't do. And it's not that hard. Not everything is like, oh my gosh, this has to be so hypocritical. No, there's rules in life, in jobs. There's some things you can't do. And this is pretty simple. But for some people, it's not.
I just don't see anything hypocritical about this. If your argument is they're embracing gambling sites, why can't the players gamble? Open your eyes.
Go home and bet on the NBA then.
Yeah, open your eyes. They can still gamble on cards and go out and shoot hoops. They can't gamble on the games in which they play and in which they have influence. And if you can't understand how that could, A, destroy the integrity of the game, or even just as dangerous, destroy the perceived integrity of the game, then you don't get it. But if you're arguing for that, I mean, you just need, it's not hypocritical. The money's going into their pockets. Okay? And this is in response. 5 NFL players were suspended in April. You had the investigation into Isaiah Rodgers, the Colts, came to light with sources telling ESPN and other people that he's believed to bet on his own team. Right? You can't have it. Jeff Miller's the NFL Executive Vice President of Communications, Public Affairs, and Policy. And this wasn't just at some event. They had a media availability specifically for this yesterday, specifically in the offseason, to go and show the media that this is something that's important. Quote, the world has changed over the last few years. The availability of our phones with a couple of touches, and all of a sudden you can place a bet on many different things, wasn't available a few years ago. It's available now. So sports gambling has a great deal more presence in people's lives than it did just a few short years ago, which means for us as a sports league, where integrity of the game is the highest single principle, that we have to be thoughtful and careful and scrutinize how we share information, educate people around the rules that govern it. End quote. Simple. Simple. We read them to you again. Don't bet on football. NFL. You know what's not in here? Don't bet on college football.
That was very surprising to me. I thought for sure they would cover that in some way.
You and I agree, right, that they should not be current NFL guys should not be allowed to bet on college football.
Oh, wholeheartedly.
And I know there's people who are just going, why? Why not? They don't play it. Well, because most of these guys still have very, very close ties to their former college teammates, their former college coaches, their former college programs. And inside info sways the lines, the bets, everything. And so you're talking to your buddy that you played with 2 years ago at State U.
He's trying to get a job in the NFL now.
And he's trying to, right? And he's trying to be your guy, and you can help him. Oh, hey, man, by the way, our left tackle, he's out, man. Ain't nobody know, but he blew out his knee, and the guy's feeling the heat, man. I'm worried. And all of a sudden, you're like, wham, that line was 12. I'll take the 12 or whatever. It's, you know, or the quarterback not playing, or the star receiver's not playing, or whatever. You get in. I just don't think they should. But don't bet on football. Don't gamble at your facility. Don't have someone bet for you. Don't share inside information. You can't go into a sports book during the season. And don't play daily fantasy. You can go have a team and you can call them sneaky mediocre. Is that what's on the board? Right? And you can be in JJ's league, but you can't play daily. Seems pretty simple, right?
It does. And bringing up the college football point, I think, is a really good one. If you're the NFL and you're seeing a lot of people break the rules right now, and dudes coming out and saying, oh, made a mistake. They're not the only ones. And so covering your bases, and I think throwing college football in there would be fine. Like football off the table. Now, at some point in time, you're not going to be able to cover every relationship unless you just say you can't bet on sports overall, which it is interesting.
Because they got buddies in the NBA.
Yeah, which is interesting that it's staff can't bet at all.
The staff can't bet at all. Is that right?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So that's probably where there could be some pushback in regards.
I mean, this
to
will
what
evolve.
are we doing?
Yeah.
But
it'll evolve, right? I mean,
you just gotta stay on top of it.
Yeah. In regards to the mixed messaging or potential mixed messaging, because NFL owners are taking sponsorship deals with sports books, NFL coaches, to your point, and the staff are prohibited from placing wagers of any kind. Players are subject to these tight restrictions. The NFL insists there is no double standard. Here's the quote from who's this? This is from the NFL. It's just a little bit of apples and oranges. At the end of the day, what this is about is bringing in new fans, keeping fans engaged, giving them the opportunities to engage in these things versus what we all do personally and what we should not be doing to protect the integrity, end quote. I'm not sure I totally understand that. That felt like a little, of all the stuff that they were saying, that's the one piece that felt like a little bit of crap to me. Just say, we're taking the money and the money's going back into the players' pool, but no, it's not a double standard because we got to protect the integrity of the game. I mean, it's pretty simple, but we'll be there. Are you talking about college? One big name in sports media believes the Pac-12 will fold, will not exist long term. Who's that and why and what could that mean for the Mountain West? It's next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
2nd Street has a crash at Ranchito.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons.
Thing, right? You gamble on you, and I'm going to guess now, moving forward, we're going to see harsher penalties. Don't you think?
We need to.
Well, look, they're coming out. They're being proactive. They're saying, "Look, here's the deal." Right? Is there any ambiguity here? Is it very clear? And if it's not, what do you need to know? Here's what you can and cannot do. You cannot do this. Here's the 6 key things. What do we just see these guys get? 5-6 games? Right? Pete Rose never, he was a manager. Jeff, he was a manager. That's different. Is it? I mean, I don't know. Is it different? He controls the game. They control the game. I mean, somebody's going to go Pete Rose on this thing, don't you think?
So they're trying to get ahead of.
I think that's what they're trying to get ahead of. Edward, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, Edward.
Well, good morning. It's nice to hear your guys' voices. First day of summer. Happy first day of summer.
Happy summer. What's
summer
up?
solstice. Longest day of the year from a daylight savings perspective. Hey, I was remiss last week, and I didn't say Happy Father's Day to everybody. But speaking of Grady, his young, dynamic, multi-state champion son, Malik, did an interview, and I listened to the entire content. What a poised, brilliant young man with great things coming in his future. And I just want to congratulate Grady and his wife for raising such a great young man. So that I'd share that with, because Grady is
well, he did the interview with our buddy Sebastian Noel. He was on Sebastian's show, and it's available.
Absolutely. Sebastian did a nice job in the interview process as well.
Yeah.
I always like to start with the positive. Hey, I remember when Playmakers was on ESPN, and ESPN said, we're going to cancel this show because it's not an accurate depiction of the NFL. Well, in the last few months, and it's not only NFL-centric, we have the former number 1 draft pick in the NBA being threatened by a porn star.
Correct. That's correct.
We got one of the up and rising stars of the NBA waving guns on Instagram.
That's true.
And facing what should have been probably at least half a year, if not a full year suspension, right? Now we got the fastest guy in the NFL, basically head slapping guys on the dock. It's a good thing ESPN or whatever network, right? Doesn't have to be ESPN, pulled that show off because we wouldn't want to negatively influence what we're watching on television.
No.
But you know what? I think the NFL is just a numbers game. I think every sport has its issues. There's just more players in the NFL because you carry more on the roster. So it's a function of probability.
That's fair.
Part of being devastatingly handsome and tragically brilliant and painfully accurate is being ahead of the curve. And I'm going to give you a short list, and I'll be succinct on things I've been correct about. When Bob, I forget Bob's last name, he used to host a show. I told them most sporting events are going to go by way of some type of pay-per-view, whether it be cable television, whatnot. And I think eventually the Super Bowl will go to a pay-per-view. And that's pretty much come to fruition. The Major League World Series is on a pay-per-view channel. The NBA Finals at times go to ESPN and ABC. And, you can go down the list. Most of the NBA playoffs are on pay-per-view. The NFL has moved to a new platform. So that's come to fruition. I said the NCAA as we know it, the major conferences, will eventually secede from the NCAA. That's in process. I think that's going to happen within 5 to 7 years, and they're going to do their own thing, right? I just think there's more things coming regarding to your NFL betting. And I told these people, and I see this. No one informed me. I just see it coming. Think of the Manning cast, how it's really just an entertainment show. The NFL is going to go by way of they're going to create a channel where it's going to be a betting channel during the game. It's going to be like red zone betting.
I bet that's right.
Where you're going to be live, and if it's 3rd and 8, you're going to say, are they going to throw a slant, a deep post? Are they going to run an option? Whatever. And you're going to bet live. That's where the NFL is headed. And that's why they're trying to get control of players not betting, because they're going to capitalize off a world market of betting.
Well, that's not the only reason.
And everybody's going to get hooked. Yeah. So to your listeners, if you could take off your Kobe Bryant and Tony Romo jerseys and just listen, maybe you'll learn something. I'm just trying to educate and inform.
Appreciate you.
Have a great day, my friends.
See you. Adolph, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hey, Adolph.
Oh, hey. I was thinking back in the archives of my mind. I can remember back, about 1963, when you had two superstars who were busted for gambling in the National Football League. Those superstars, one was Paul Hornung, the running back, Hall of Famer for the Green Bay Packers, and the other was the defensive tackle for the Detroit Lions, Alex Karras. And I can remember specifically when Pete Rose suspended them indefinitely at a minimum for the entire season for gambling. So when I hear all this talk about gambling and they just can't seem to get the attention of the players, well, you have to come down hard on them.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
If we were talking about suspensions for a full year, I guarantee you that situation would clear itself up. All you need to do, just like Pete Rozelle did 60 years ago, suspend them for a year, and then you don't have that problem. I'm out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Look, did you have the problem after Pete Rose? How much gambling did you hear about in baseball after Pete Rose?
Not much.
Ned just hit me with Art Schlichter, right? One of my favorite college quarterbacks, he says, of all time, the Ohio State quarterback. Gambling ruined his life. Sad story and a cautionary tale. Did you ever see the documentary on Art? Did you guys have you heard of Art Schlichter?
I've heard of him. I have not seen.
Do you know who he is? He was an Ohio State quarterback, was a stud, NFL, gambled in the NFL, had a gambling problem, ended up in prison. Just lost everything. He was a huge prospect in the NFL, and Art Schlichter couldn't stop gambling. And they came down hard on him and threw him out of the league. So what Adolph's saying, and this is where I'm going with this whole thing, and I think this is what they're setting themselves up for. I think the NFL right now is going, okay, look, man, we've been handing out these 5-6 game suspensions. It's cute, right? We are now proactive. You cannot not hear the message. Now it's on you. We're bringing the message to you, rookies. And look, I'm sure rookies sit in these rooms and fall asleep and look at their phones and whatever, right? They are saying, we've given you this information. We made it very clear. I'm going to guess the next one or the next two or the next however many, because we're seeing a crazy little trickle of it, aren't we? I'm not telling you it's rampant, but it's a relatively steady trickle, is it not? Of guys that we're hearing about gambling stuff?
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrong. I think at some point when the commissioner comes out and says, all right, enough. I've changed the precedent. You're right. They only got 5 games. I've changed it. And the Players Association will lose their mind. And it's going to go, he's done for a year. That's now the standard. We're not playing this game anymore. Because the integrity of this game, there are billions of dollars that employ thousands of people. And for the integrity of this game to be washed away because someone can't stay off his phone and stop making a bet is a risk that league isn't and should not be willing to take. You think I'm wrong? Is that too harsh?
No, I think that's right on. I was thinking, though, it's kind of a joke that they said it's only been a few years you can do it on your phone.
Well, but now more states, right? And when once they embraced it, it was okay. But you're right. People have been betting on their phones for years.
Yeah, it's easily done.
You
but also it's you'd have to go through VPNs at times, and I'm not saying people weren't doing that, but now you can just download an app and it's legal to do.
Yeah. All right, I do want to get into what the college stuff that I teased, because you got a big name, one of the loudest and most listened to voices in college football, who flat out said, I don't think the Pac-12 is going to exist. So what does that mean for West Coast sports, Mountain West, New Mexico? Going there next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report.
Pitch. There's a line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
The 0-2. It's upstairs, goes to the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, La Cueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As La Cueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman, quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch. And she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get 1 run back. That one hit on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2 run, and this game could very well be over. It's a play at the plate. It's sliding, and that will do it. The Rams walk off the La Cueva Bears. It's a 3-run batted in shot by Dean Ellison.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties.
Just laugh when I hear when it all settles, JJ, because when will it all settle? Right? We've been doing this for how long? Playing musical chairs in conference expansion. It's the opening drive. Jeff Sabieta, JJ Buck, and DC. You can get in at 505-246-0610. So you're well aware that last week, San Diego State sent a letter to the Mountain West Conference, basically giving them notice that they're going to give them notice, right? And asking for...
We'd like to let you know we'd like out of our lease, and maybe you'd like to give us an extension on that, but this isn't official.
Right. And the Mountain West came back and said, yeah, whatever, no. Are you leaving? Or are we throwing you out? Or what's the deal? And where are you going, by the way? And so the common thought is that they're going to Pac-12 with SC and UCLA leaving, and how's the Pac-12 going to stay together? It's Wednesday of this week now, right? And I firmly expect something out of Colorado this week, because the next domino is Colorado. Do we all agree with that? Colorado is in the Pac-12, mulling going back to the Big 12, and what will that mean then? And will Utah and or Arizona State or Gonzaga, or will somebody go with them, and will that crumble the Pac-12? Paul Feinbaum is the mouth of the South, right? He has been college football's voice in the South for a long time. He's an ESPN and SEC network guy. Quote Paul Feinbaum yesterday. Ultimately, as much as big conferences don't really want to expand at the moment, I think they'll be forced to take the cream of the crop out there. He's talking about the Pac-12. Whether it's the Big Ten going after the Northwest schools, that would be Washington and Oregon, whether it's Colorado or Arizona or somebody else just deciding to go to the Big 12, I do not believe the Pac-12 can exist, end quote. Now, Paul Feinbaum has been wrong on plenty of things. I'm not ready to go that I think the Pac-12 is going to fold, but that is a big voice, a respected voice who knows kind of getting in loud.
And if you look at the Pac-12, and it's a little bit of what you said, I'm just kind of looking around and, all right, who's going to make the first move? This would be a step toward super conferences, and then what do you do? Because right now, you look at the Big Ten and SEC. There's 16-team conference. The SEC is not adding any of these teams. But you could see all those teams absorbed in potentially those three leagues. It's possible.
Into the SEC, the Big 12, and the
one
Big
of the
10.
questions when you look at, because there's a lot of duos in there. Arizona State, Washington State. What are the connections between those schools? How loud are the senators and
the chancellors
involved? That are those schools? Would they have to move together? Does Oregon have to go with Oregon?
You saw
State?
the UCLA Cal thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's always a way now, because I would have agreed with you 2 years ago, right? And it always was, Texas and Texas A&M and Texas Tech have to stay together. Well, yeah, not really. It was always Arizona State have to stay together. Now we're hearing maybe there's a split. What is Washington State going to do if the Big 12 wants one of them and not the other? I'm sorry, the Big Ten, right? So I don't know. When we come back, I want to stay on this because you've got a list, right? You're saying potentially 3 super leagues. And I'm not sure that I agree totally that the SEC is not going to move. I don't think they want to. I think Feinbaum's right. But if the landscape dictates that they go after Carolina and Clemson and Notre Dame,
the ACC,
right? They start poaching the ACC. And is the number 24. And then what? And then what does it mean for the Mountain West, New Mexico, whatever's left out west? Because it almost makes the West Coast irrelevant then. I mean, it sickens me. But if SC and UCLA and Washington, Oregon are in the Big 12, I'm sorry, in the Big 10, and Arizona and Colorado and Arizona State are in the Big 12, and not having a major West Coast or a power West Coast league, it's almost inconceivable. But start thinking about it. At least that's what Feinbaum's saying. We're continuing this conversation, and more so now, what does it mean for you, the Mountain West, New Mexico State, Conference USA? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Three-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bond.
So mid-evolution and realignment and transformation, you have one of the loudest, most listened to, and in some places respected voices in college sports making a bold statement yesterday about West Coast college athletics. Good morning to you. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and DC. Paul Feinbaum, the mouth of the South, long-time voice that is, I mean, what would you call him? I mean, one of the most
perfect, the mouth of the South.
I mean, right? This guy very often
the talking head of the SEC.
He made a bold prediction yesterday that the Pac-12 as we know it will not be around, will be eaten alive by other, what he's calling major leagues in college athletics. And he says the cannibalization of that is already underway. SC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten, possibly Oregon and Arizona soon. Any number of the biggest West Coast powers could be chased by the Big 12, Big 10, or SEC. He says SEC in there. I mean, can you see the SEC coming in what would the SEC want any of these schools?
It feel like the SEC would take more of their shots at the ACC.
Right.
If that's the case.
But he flat out says there's no way that this can be saved. He said the conference leadership, he said the situation is so fragile right now. The leadership's better than it was, but still not very good. And, you know, I think you give the new commissioner, George Kliavkov, a pass because maybe a year and a half ago, his predecessor literally ran this thing into the ground, but he's had enough time. And I think so far you've had to give him a failing grade, end quote. So what would that mean to the West Coast, to the Mountain West? Would the Mountain West become the premier West Coast league? I imagine it would be the premier Western United States-based league. I don't know of whom it would be comprised. It would not be considered a power league. But in that scenario, you would think if Arizona and or Arizona State and or Colorado and or Utah go Big 12, Oregon and Washington go Big 10, does that leave Oregon State, Washington State? I don't know what happens. Stanford might go independent. I could see Stanford going independent with their 20-something sports. Cal? What about our buddies in San Diego?
Right, because it kind of looks like
San Diego State,
Arizona State, Colorado, Utah would make sense to the Big 12.
Let me ask you this. Is San Diego State as valuable to the Big 12 as any of those markets? As any of those schools right now? I would argue with you that just because Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah are in there right now, I would argue San Diego State brings as much, if not more, value to the Big 12 than any of those schools. You think I'm wrong?
No, I think Arizona would probably be the leader of that group.
Okay. Arizona State brings you the Phoenix market, but there's a lot of Arizona alum everywhere. But okay.
Utah.
I would argue San Diego State brings you more value than Utah, potentially Colorado.
More than Colorado right now.
I think so. You got the Southern California market. You've got a premier basketball program and a good football program that will only get better once they get the resources. Like everybody, you just automatically think San Diego State's out. I would tell you, I think they're as valuable as any of those schools right now. If I'm the Big 12 and I'm looking at expansion. But so if what Feinbaum says is right, and I'm not sure it is, he says by 2026 they're going to collapse, that it's inevitable. But if what he says is right, what does the landscape look like out here? You've got the Big 10 and the Big 12 out on the West Coast, and then the Mountain West being the rest of it. And then there's only 3 leagues. Because if that's the case, does the ACC get eaten up too? If the Pac-12 goes away, does the ACC survive? Or do you think they're completely exclusive?
My biggest thing is how tied together are the
Those
rival schools.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of duos, Oregon State, Arizona State, Washington State. The Big 12, at San Diego State, what you just said, they could slide right in there. And I could even see like Arizona State, Utah, San Diego State, Big 12. Do you go Colorado? Like, do you?
I think that's why Colorado's trying to jump in now. I do.
That.
Yeah, I firmly do. I mean, I think that's why Colorado's trying to say, you know what, let's just go now and take what we take what we know we have. There's something that's the bird in the hand thing, because I'm not sure. I think they get left out, but I think they see something right now. I think they're trying to be proactive and get in front of this.
Is if you're the Mountain West,
you're
not going to have the pizzazz or the flair to be like, hey, why not us? But could you be? I don't know how you'd position yourself, because you're looking at kind of an odd school out right now is Cal.
What about Oregon State and Washington State?
I'd be about that.
What do they do? Oregon State and Washington? Because I hear you on the state, the two schools, and they want to. What if that's not an option, man? What if the Big Ten says, look, I don't want them. I want Oregon. I don't want Oregon State. I want Washington. I don't want Washington State.
Because if you're the Mountain West, this move really, if the Big 12 absorbs those schools, and then you're looking at 3 16-team leagues, with the ACC being at 14, like that right there sets a tone that college football cannot exist as is. Like, that would just, to me, be too much of a gap to try to figure out how to navigate that. And then so you're saying, all right, can we still play in the same world of college football? Because one thing you also just don't want to see is the whole thing disintegrate.
Mm-hmm.
And then see this shift in the NCAA tournament, different with women basketball.
Yeah.
I think this is trending more so than ever before to a realistic conversation of how does college football exist, calling all these teams D1 if you end up having 4 mega conferences that are 16-plus teams.
Goes to what you've been saying for a long time. Should and will college football be governed completely differently than the rest of college athletics? Right? So do you have leagues specifically for football? Because my gut tells me, and I said this to you before, are we going to look back on this in 5-10 years and go, what did we do to college athletics? How did we destroy college athletics that were so great with rivalries? Everything you loved about college athletics has been sold out to the mighty dollar. And now, like, I give a damn that USC is playing Purdue this weekend. And I give a damn that Cincinnati's playing San Diego State in the league game. And I give it like what have we done to college athletics? Right?
Yes. It has that feeling because you're navigating the world right now of NIL, pay for play, everything that's going on. And then you're just seeing this gap that we all know it's there. Everyone gets it. Everyone understands it has those that have the mighty dollar, those that don't. But I think it gets to a certain point too where how do you keep convincing yourself that you're playing the same game if we're looking at there's just 4 mega conferences controlling everything?
And I think where's the interest, right? I mean, with all due respect, that big conference game between Baylor and Central Florida, between UCLA and Minnesota, I just feel like it's you're going to tell me we'll develop new rivalries and I don't know, man. I just don't know. And I think we lose the luster. And if you lose a generation, you're going to lose it, right? You never get it back. If you lose a generation, you're not getting it back. And that's why I look at some of these smaller leagues, like the Patriot leagues, and these leagues that are geographically close and they have these rivalries. I get it, the money's not there. But I watch how we're chasing this thing. I watch where it's going. And my gut tells me we're going to sit here in 5-10 years, and I already feel this way in some respects. What the hell do we do to college athletics?
I think it's already happening a little bit.
I agree with you.
I personally am not a huge college sports fan, but I look back at the old Big 8, and it's like everything was a few hours away. You could get to any game. Those are real rivalries.
Yes.
And the people were into it. You worked with the people that went to the other school or whatever. When I hear you guys saying, "Oh, Big 12 Houston," I'm like, "What?"
That's right.
BYU, I don't care about them. Like, there's nothing there for me. And yeah, I hate to say it, but
that's more regional than some of the other stuff. Like, I don't even mind BYU and Houston being in the same league. I know it's not traditional big. Maybe if you called it something else, you'd feel better about it. But when I think of SC being in the same league as Purdue, UCLA and Iowa and Rutgers and Penn State are in the same league. Like, what are we doing?
That does not make sense to me.
And I understand why, but I don't, if that makes any sense. Sherman, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, Sherman. Sherman.
Hey, good
what's
morning.
Up? Hey, what's up? Good morning.
So I come at it a little differently because obviously geography essentially has nothing to do with the leagues anymore.
Yep.
So if it doesn't, then everybody's out for the money. And if that's true, then the top, I don't know, I'll pick top 60 schools, top 64 schools, they'll align themselves in such a way that a couple of them will focus on football, a couple of them will focus on basketball, and we'll end up with about 4 major conferences, and it'll all be divvied up by the television money.
Mm-hmm. I hate it, but yes.
And so, from my point of view, in my life, regrettably, geography is not going to have anything to do with it anymore because it was fun playing our geographical competitors.
Yep. So what's going to happen to schools like New Mexico then, in your opinion, when you see where this is going and probably not going to get into that 60-64 into these power conferences? So what do you see with this league? Because I see this league playing the same role that it plays now. Maybe, and I know you see it as a decrease, JJ. I see it as a little increased level if you add some of the schools that are left over. But Sherm, how do you see it? He gone. All right. That's I see the Mountain West can have a bigger role.
I think it's possible, at least from a college basketball standpoint. Like, that's the one thing that you just keep your fingers crossed that it's not destroyed, because if they do that, then this market is really going to struggle to wrap their minds around, like, what are we doing? Because this is a college sports market.
Yes.
Yeah, NFL will dominate headlines. NFL Monday morning, we got you. But the things you show up to, the live events you show up to, are dominated by college athletics. And that future is uncertain if the Pac-12 collapses.
And it could be uncertain in a way that might be beneficial to the Mountain West.
If these schools are not gobbled up as duos.
I just don't know there's enough room for everybody.
And then, so
if that's the case,
like, if you're the Mountain West,
and
it's off the beaten path, but Oregon State, Washington State, if Colorado's left out, if you could somehow get them to,
Colorado's going now.
I know that's why they're trying to go now. But if they get left out,
and
then you say, all right, guess what? Colorado State,
it's beautiful.
Deal with it. You're in the same league, but now we got a rivalry.
It's beautiful,
and you can go from Albuquerque to Colorado Springs, to Fort Collins, to Boulder,
to Laramie,
Wyoming. Yeah. Let's go.
That's beautiful. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. If you want to have that conversation, we will continue that for you. We're going to speak with New Mexico State's new baseball coach, Jake Inge, here at 9 o'clock. Looking forward to talking to him about how he rebuilds this. This was a team that was in the NCAA tournament, a year ago, and now they fired their coach. And how does he come in and make this a winner moving into a new league? Looking forward to hearing his thoughts and his beliefs and what he has to say about how he's going to turn the Aggies into a winner into their new league. When we come back, NBA draft is tomorrow. Are the Clippers thinking of breaking up their big duo before the draft? What about Paul George on the move? It's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Late Night, open until midnight.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future and get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from U.S. Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At U.S. Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say, people mean more.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com.
HB says we've already destroyed college athletics. I'm going to ask you the question, are we going to look back on this in a few years? But what have we done? I asked you that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel in some respects, what have we done? Right? He says, Jeff, it was about guys putting on uniforms and as pimply-faced boys. You follow their development until they run down that ramp for the last time on senior night as men. Now it's all about catching lightning in a bottle with a bunch of mercenaries that combine high school and college have already been at like 45 different programs. It's not what college should be about. You don't know if these guys are still going to be around in 3 months because some other program might offer them $75K 2024 Audi convertible, let alone 3 years from now. HB. Yeah. I look, you decide if that's destroyed it or not. It's certainly altered it, hasn't it?
It has in a lot of people's minds. And
I know.
This is going to slow down a little bit in the next couple years, because what really made it to where there's dudes at 3 or 4 different schools with COVID, and the extra year of eligibility plus the grad transfer year, the free transfer, like it just made these rosters ridiculous.
Also,
but I am also like, I get if you don't see a dude for 4 years, but it allows teams to be competitive
quickly. Yeah.
And to me, that is more important than watching a dude for 4 years just so you can have a senior night.
Well, so there's a lot of stuff here. We say this. People are still watching. Okay. This is something that you might argue, but there really is no argument to it. College football is the second most popular sport in our country. Next to the National Football League, college football is number 2. It's the numbers tell it. Go to any metric. Go to television ratings. Go to whatever. This really, right? We're not arguing this. College basketball is up there. Many places. I mean, are you more a college basketball fan or an NBA fan? I know I'm more of a college basketball fan. Until college basketball is over, and then I'll shift. But in NBA markets, it's different. College athletics is still very popular. College athletics is still demanding the rights fees that the networks are paying, and now not just networks, but different outlets, whether now Amazon's getting in. Why do you think Amazon and Apple and the CW and everybody else wants in? Why do you think? So as much as we might sit here and say, well, they're destroying, there's people, the rich get richer, right? The fat cats, the big leagues are going, who needs the New Mexicos and the New Mexico states and whoever's left behind? We're here, right?
Yeah.
And people are watching. And my guess is you're still going to watch if there's, which like Sherman said, 64 teams in 3 or 4 leagues, you're probably still going to watch. And there's still going to be a place for New Mexico to play basketball and I believe football and compete. And I don't know that I see what they're doing as drastically a different level. I really don't. I see the makeup of conferences being drastically different. But what does it all mean in the end? I think the Mountain West or some variation of the Mountain West, right? There's New Mexico and Colorado State and Wyoming and Nevada and Boise State and Utah State and UNLV. And they're still going to need a place to play.
Even without San Diego State, this is the most confident I've been in the Mountain West anytime during this process.
I agree.
That they're just not going to collapse.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think they're in a position where they're not going to be a quote-unquote power league. But I believe they're in position to be the next thing. And we'll watch it. All right, NBA draft is tomorrow. Paul George has spent 4 seasons with the Clippers. Will he spend more? JJ, this hasn't worked, right? Paul George, Kawhi Leonard?
Nope.
The Clippers gave up a big package. When they got Paul George, they want to put him with Kawhi Leonard. Clippers gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Is he any good?
Oh, very good.
His first team All-NBA, I believe, this year, right? With Oklahoma City. Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-round picks and 2 first-round swaps to get Paul George. I don't know that I realized it was that much. When I saw that this morning again, I'm like, holy smokes, I forgot that they gave up that much for Paul George. Paul George is a star, not a superstar. Do we agree?
Paul George hasn't been the problem with the Clippers.
No. But Paul George is a star, not a superstar. Do we agree with that?
That is correct, yes.
I mean, he's really good. He's not the Giannis, Joker, LeBron, Steph level guy, right? Okay. Kawhi could have been if he stays healthy, but he's not, right? Okay. 4 years later, Here they are. Kawhi Leonard, and George has made it through the postseason healthy one time. They had a 3-1 lead on the Nuggets in the bubble. They're both eligible for 4-year, $200 million plus extensions. How do you give either of them a 4-year, $200 million extension? Time to move on? Like, what do you do there? Do you blow that whole thing up? You're in star-studded LA. You're building a new building. You're competing with the Lakers.
And one of the things that we just praised the Denver Nuggets for was patience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but patience without giving these two guys, especially Kawhi, who's never available, $200 million again.
And the problem that teams are facing is every all-star caliber guy getting a max deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not what is sustainable. And so that is where you have the conversation of actually trading Paul George. Because if you're the Clippers, even though if you feel that, all right, one of these guys is going to get hurt again, best case scenario for them is just still run it back one more year.
Would you trade him to the Blazers for the number 3 pick? Paul George to Portland for number 3?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
Would Portland do that?
I think Portland would do that in a heartbeat. That was all it took to get Paul George.
Then they got to pay him.
But that's a move you make. Damian Lillard wants to win. A player like Paul George beside him is how you at least make the playoffs.
I like Paul George a lot. Has he ever won?
No one's won by themselves.
No, I know, but he's been in situations now, but not in Indiana. I thought he was amazing in Indiana. Then he blew out his leg in the Olympic trials, right? Or in the Olympic practice. I don't know that I think he's ever been the same, although he's been pretty good. Like, he's had some good playoff runs. I think if you put him with Dame, it's the best situation he's ever been in. That includes Oklahoma City, right? Him and Westbrook in Oklahoma City was interesting, but I think this is better if you get some stuff around him. They still have another pick in the first round. Portland does. And then all of a sudden, now I don't know what you can afford with Paul George and Damian Lillard on your roster, what you still got left. But can you go out and attract a free agent now?
Yeah, and if you're the Clippers, it is just starting to think ahead. Because it either run this back.
It's not working.
Or you redo the whole thing.
It's just not working. And I got to believe if you're Paul George, aren't you a little, I don't know what the word is, impatient? I mean, at what point, like, I came here to play with Kawhi Leonard, and I play with him like 12 times a year. And I'm a big Kawhi guy, right? I mean, he's an Aztec. He's a 2-time champion. He's unbelievable. And I don't think a guy's got to be verbose and outgoing to be great. But I do think he's got to play to be great. And when he plays, he is great. Do we have that? I mean, is there an argument?
No.
He was great in San Antonio. He was great in Toronto.
Flashes, but not consistent.
Right. Is he a Hall of Famer? Right now, if he retired, is Kawhi Leonard a Hall of Famer?
2-time NBA champ. Right?
NBA MVP?
Mm-hmm.
Or playoff MVP? I mean, or is it, well, yeah, but he never played. I don't know what he played. He was pretty freaking good.
Those two championships were amazing.
They were amazing.
So he's certainly in the conversation.
Well, I mean, he led Toronto, right?
Absolutely.
He pretty much led San Antonio.
Well, it was. You got to discount that championship in Toronto.
Oh, because
the Warriors got hurt.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And he got that lucky bounce to beat Philly.
Durant.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah, so it doesn't count.
The weak championship.
Even though they beat everybody else to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I forget about that.
Yeah.
He says sarcastically. All right, I watched that one. That one interests me because there's a lot of noise around the league. Mark Stein is a writer that covers the league, and he says he believes the Clippers, and he's hearing this from executives around the league, are gauging the trade value for Paul George before the draft. Now, I don't know if they trade him or not, but the Clippers were championship favorites when George and Kawhi got there. They've won 2 playoff series in their 4 years together. Look, I'm just going to tell you, if I'm Portland and I can afford it, and I think I can. Here's number 3. You want to give me Paul George? And I think the Clippers will go, yeah, here, take him. Maybe they can get something else off that roster.
If you're the Los Angeles Clippers, moving off one of those guys to try to make one more run with Kawhi Leonard, because would be the hardest one.
I get it.
To trade away is Kawhi Leonard.
Yes,
because when that dude is playing, he can still have great moments.
Yes,
but Paul George being available is very enticing. Like if Paul George is available, he is a fantastic piece. Like all of a sudden, if I'm Miami, my ears are perked. Like you just got to start. You got to start figuring it out, man. I know Pat Bradley was out yesterday saying they're going to stay the course. They're not going to do anything dramatic. But like their window is now. There's a lot of teams that are competitive. Like the NBA is absolutely stacked going into next season.
Yeah.
And a player like Paul George being available is how you can move ahead of a couple teams.
You say sometimes the biggest trades are the ones that don't happen. There was a big trade this week that sent Bradley Beal to Phoenix for Chris Paul, but there was a big piece of that didn't happen. One team wanted this guy, the other team said no, and it might be the biggest part of that trade. We're going to talk about that when we return. Sadly, our town is known for a lot of things, but not safety and security. Just telling you the truth, right? Everything you know. Aaron Jones owns IPS, started IPS back in 2006 to make Albuquerque better and safer. IPS is his business to protect homes and businesses throughout the metropolitan area. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home. They come by on a daily basis. They patrol my house. When I travel, they come by, do extra patrols. When I have a package delivered, they pick it up so somebody else doesn't. They roll the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. Just give my house that lived-in look. If your alarm goes off, they're there within 5 to 7 minutes with trained armed security officers. Now they need your help. If you're a former or retired police officer, if you've got military or security experience, and you want to make our city a better place, you're asked to fill out an application at ipsglobal.com. IPS has world-class professionals who will train you to handle almost any situation. If you want to be a part of making our town better, work for a great company, get a hold of IPS. The number is 505-897-2420. 505-897-2420, or you can fill out the application at ipsglobal.com. Join IPS if you want to make Albuquerque a better and safer place to live and work.
This message brought to you by Sandia Golf Club.
Our state's best golf course, voted on by golfers.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future and get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what?
Seth,
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
That's at 9:00. By the way, JJ, there is a tie that the New Mexico State coach has with New Mexico's coach, Todd Brown. Quite a time. We'll talk to him about that, but they know each other actually very, very well, as that rivalry will continue non-conference. You tell me all the time, and I think you're right, some of the best trades are the ones that don't happen, right?
That is correct.
So this week, there was a trade between Phoenix and Washington in the National Basketball Association. And amongst others, the headliners of the trade were Bradley Beal going from Washington to Phoenix and Chris Paul going from Phoenix to Washington, where Chris Paul will probably never play. But you're telling me the odd man out in this was DeAndre Ayton, that the Wizards wanted him and Phoenix said no. And while people want to rip on DeAndre Ayton for not being able to guard Nikola Jokic, nobody was able to guard Nikola Jokic. And I believe, and I think you believe, that Ayton or somebody like Ayton is key to getting Phoenix where they want, even thusly assembled.
Actually, DeAndre Ayton, the last 2 postseasons have been very bad. And that's why his stock is really low. But Frank Vogel coming in, a new voice, a guy that could have new belief in DeAndre Ayton, because right now he's the number 4.
which was a good role for him, actually.
And sometimes even when you're the former number 1 overall pick, you're not that guy. But that doesn't mean that you're worthless. It doesn't mean you don't have a place in the NBA. Let's go down the list. Andrew Wiggins and so forth. Better situations you can maximize the talent that you have. And DeAndre Ayton not being moved to Washington, well, it either means that Phoenix has a really good number 4, a center that Frank Vogel can work with. And what is Frank Vogel known for? Really?
Defense.
Yeah. And that's what DeAndre Ayton has to be. It's not worrying about his jump shots, not stretching his game. He has to be a defensive factor for Phoenix. And so you have that piece to it. And also, he's still a trade asset. And so them being able to keep DeAndre Ayton in this trade when Washington was like, you know what? We'll actually take DeAndre Ayton back too if you really want Bradley Beal. And Phoenix still able to get that deal done, keeping DeAndre Ayton. It has their options open. And this is why I'm not worried about the depth of the Phoenix Suns. If they keep DeAndre Ayton, he's a piece that I think is going to be the best version of himself that we've seen. Kind of a lesser role in the offense, but more of a impactful defensive player, thanks to Frank Vogel, or still out there on the market, then bringing more pieces to a team.
I think one of the things you said in there is might be the key. It's their only trade asset. Right? What else do they have on that roster? If they want to add around those big 3, what else do they have?
Nothing left.
So if somebody wants DeAndre Ayton, and evidently people do, Indiana offered him an offer sheet last year. The Wizards, by every account, wanted him in this trade. So can you get a different big and maybe not perceived as good, but can you get a big who can come in and give you minutes and defend, and a player or another 1 or 2 role players for DeAndre Ayton?
That is on the table still.
100% it's on the table. No, I think the trade asset part is more important than is DeAndre Ayton the guy going forward. Look, they need somebody who's going to be able to protect the rim. Now, I was looking at it earlier. Do they have a draft pick? No, I mean,
I don't know if they have a draft pick available for the next 6 years.
They have nothing in the first round. You know what's crazy to see? The Lakers actually have a first round pick. Like, when was the last time the Lakers had and it's at 17. The Suns don't have a pick in the first round. I guess that's all that really matters is the first round. I mean, can they find something in the second round? They pick 22nd in the second round, 52nd overall. So out of 58 picks, they have 1 pick. It'll be 52nd. Can they find somebody with length? I mean, what are you getting at 52? I don't know. You found Nikola Jokic at 41. Nikola Jokic, by the way, at 41 is like telling me you found Tom Brady in the 6th round. I mean, it's that much of an anomaly, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you tell me, Draymond Green, and there's a few guys that you found in the second round. But, I mean, Nikola Jokic, who is perceived now to be the best player in the world, right?
That is very much so Tom Brady in the 6th round.
Yeah, because there's only 2 rounds in this damn draft. So
you're not getting NBA MVPs in the second round.
You're just not. You're not even getting really. I mean, you're getting what? Draymond? Who else? Where was Jamal Murray? Was like 11th overall, right?
7th
overall. Yeah, you're just not finding them. You're finding players. And I think what Miami did with the undrafted guys will make the second round a little bit more intriguing to some of you this year. But it's about the first round today. So I think that's where that goes. As far as what was it? Why was it so big for Phoenix to keep him? For me, and more than anything else, it's because they've got a trade asset and they had nothing else to work with. All right, we're going to talk baseball coming up at 9 o'clock. Jake Angier is going to be with us, the new baseball coach at New Mexico State. Looking forward to talking to him about how he turns this thing around going into a new league. And he'll tell you we'll ask him about his relationship with the UNM's coach, Todd Brown. They've worked together in the past. And as he comes down from Oregon, what can he bring from Oregon, from a program like that, to New Mexico State? We'll do that coming up at 9 o'clock. When we come back, they've now won 10 in a row. The hottest team in baseball is a first-place team, and you're going to go, wait, what? Really? Them? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Verizon.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Evergard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support.
It's courtesy of WLW in Cincinnati. Don't look now. The hottest and one of the best teams in Major League Baseball is the first place Cincinnati Redlegs. They beat the Rockies yesterday 8-6. Rockies are 18 games under 500. Isotopes are 16 under 500, the AAA club. I know August 28th is the date. Is that the date we're paying attention to baseball?
Yes.
We as a collective, me as an individual, will pay a little closer attention earlier. They're pretty damn good, dude. And they're young and they're fun and they're exciting. They're I told you, listen to Joey Votto, their veteran who just came back the other day, and he compared his team to the Sacramento Kings, where they're young enough to not know what they're not supposed to do. They're brash enough. They think we're so good, we're just going to go out and win every damn night. Maybe when they're not playing the Rockies, you'll enjoy watching them, but they're kind of fun to watch.
They have the best prospect in baseball, Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, he's tremendous.
Just a phenomenal athlete.
He also homered last night, by the way.
A team that is mixing some veteran pieces with players that have come up through the organization, getting quality pitching. They're a fun team to watch when playing good baseball. And 12-2 since De La Cruz joined the team.
So we have crazy win streaks going on right now. The Braves have won 7 in a row. The Reds have won 10 in a row. The Marlins lost yesterday, but they had won a bunch in a row before that. I mentioned this to you yesterday. If you look at the standings, especially in the National League, first place teams in the National League are the Diamondbacks. What? The Reds? Huh? And the Braves. And your wild card teams right now in the National League are the Marlins, the Giants, and the Dodgers. The Dodgers are holding on. I'm kind of excited to see the Marlins next week in person. And I don't think I'd ever say
400.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I never thought I'd ever say I'm excited to see the Marlins in person.
Is this in Miami?
No, it's at Fenway.
Oh, you said that. That's right.
Yeah.
Miami Stadium's awesome, though.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to go there. I'd like to see that one. And I've been to Fenway, but if you're going to say, hey, you could take your daughter to Fenway or to that new park, Fenway's kind of special.
Yeah, Fenway wins.
Fenway. Have you ever been there?
No, not for baseball. I saw Pearl Jam there.
Did you really?
I did.
It's kind of a cool little atmosphere, but that's cool. Have you ever been to Fenway?
No.
You've been to Wrigley?
Many times.
Wrigley's cool. So which one do you like better?
It's tough because with Wrigley, you have obstructions with the poles.
Well, but if you get a seat without obstruction, you don't notice that.
Without the obstruction, I'm taking Wrigley.
Ask me next week. I got to go remember Fenway again. Wrigley was fun, the whole Wrigleyville atmosphere around it, but Fenway is too. But what I remember about Wrigley is the whole everything around the ballpark, right? Going to Murphy's bleachers, out the bar out over right field, and doing the pregame there, and the guy selling old style, drinking old style beer. I don't think I've had. Do they sell old style anywhere outside of Chicago? Is that just a Chicago thing? I don't even know if it was any good, but it tasted really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it outside of Chicago.
Yeah, they probably have Old Style Light now too.
Probably
because the Old Style wasn't light enough.
Old
Do you know?
style
Do you know?
beer.
Okay, those are the two oldest stadiums in Major League Baseball. Do you know what the third oldest stadium in Major League Baseball is right now?
Dodgers?
It is. and it doesn't look it. I mean, I wonder how many stadiums have come and gone since Dodger Stadium, right? I mean, I think they've gone through 3 in Texas and 3 in Atlanta, right? And we're talking baseball. We come back. New Mexico State's got a new head coach. They hired Jake Angier. He was the pitching coach at Oregon. How does he get the Aggies back to winners as they go into Conference USA? And he's going to tell you about his connection with Lobo coach Todd Brown. Aggies got a new leader in baseball. He's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future and get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Dream Style Stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream Style Stucco.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit.
Jake Angier, the pitching coach at Oregon, was introduced, a guy who's coached, amongst other things, 32 Major League draft picks and 8 other big league players, 5 All-Americas, 3 freshman All-Americas. He comes over from Oregon, where they were just in the super regionals, and takes over a program that's going into Conference USA and looking to turn this thing around. Jake Angier is our guest this morning on the opening drive with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. Jake, good morning. Congratulations. How you living?
I'm living good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking.
No, appreciate you spending some time with us. So you, I'm going to guess there's a lot of opportunities. You were in a high-profile, highly successful program. You're one of the top 50 names to watch in college baseball. Opportunities come and go. Why was this the right one for you to say, all right, I'm going to leave Eugene and take over this program?
Yeah, I think over time as an assistant coach, you're starting to narrow down, what you're really looking for in a head coaching job. As you're always kind of thinking with that in mind as an assistant coach. And so, as I got closer to it, my wife and I, 2 things that really were going to matter to me and to us were, going somewhere where we felt like the opportunity to win was there and there was resources and things in place that were going to help us do that. And, felt like New Mexico State definitely checked that box. And then the second piece, and probably the biggest piece, is going somewhere where you feel like you feel comfortable raising your family, where there's a tight knit, community where you want to live, and where that you're just going to feel comfortable with your kids living there and growing up. And my experiences, coming to Las Cruces, when I would play against New Mexico State, and then obviously throughout the process of the interview and going around town, were just awesome. It's a community that you can tell. There's a lot of people that have lived here a really long time, which means that they like it. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that you can tell they really care about baseball and they want to see baseball succeed. And they're just, here to help in any way they can. And so I couldn't be happier and looking forward to getting started.
I love it because it's so key, right? You got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it's those are big ages, right? This is going to be a big part of their upbringing, and you want to be comfortable. And then on the first piece, why do you think you can turn this around? Because there's a lot of tradition here, and this was a rough year. Now you're going into a new league. It's going to be different. It's a big transition, and it's such a big thing for the university now going into Conference USA. So when you look at this, why do you think you can turn this around? How long do you think it takes?
Well, you mentioned it, and part of your question was there is tradition here, so it's not like it's never been done before, and that's a big key. You can, when you're going somewhere and they've never won, then you're looking at maybe a tougher task. But they have won here in recent history, and so and I've seen that firsthand and what it looks like and what those teams look like and how they recruited, and so I have a little bit of a blueprint, just looking at what Brian Green did. Yep. on how to be successful. Now, we want to make it our own and do some things, the way we want to do them, but I definitely have a lot of respect for the way he did it, and he was successful here. And so part of it's that, and then I think the fact that we're going into Conference USA, I mean, that's huge. You know, that's a conference that a lot of kids across the country are going to want to play in. You know, there's really good competition and teams in that league. It's a multi-bid league, which means that you can make the NCAA tournament without having to win the conference tournament. You're going to have multiple teams, 2 to 3 teams at least every year from Conference USA that are going to play in the NCAA regionals. And so to be in a conference where you can schedule, build out a schedule going into the season to set yourself up for success that way to get an at-large bid is huge. And at the end of the day, kids want to go somewhere where they're going to play against the best and be tested and play in stadiums that are full. And you're going to be able to do that in Conference USA. It's, all the teams are spread across the South, part of the United States where baseball is at its best. And so for the fact that we're going into Conference USA, I think that's huge. I think that makes the New Mexico State job even better than it was 5 years ago. And so I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Jake Angier is with us this morning. He's New Mexico State's new baseball coach with us on The Sports Animal.
With pitching as your background, being the pitching coach in all the places that you've been, the success that you've had, what is the key to identifying and developing young pitching? Because as we see, that can be such a deciding factor in baseball and college baseball.
Yeah, I think the identification process is important. You're looking for guys that are athletic, that are good movers, so they, make things look natural on the mound. They're not really raw and stiff. Like, you're going to go out and watch guys that can throw hard, but they're stiff and raw. And so I don't know how much upside there really is with a guy like that. So you're looking for guys that are athletic. Those guys typically have upside, and you're going to help them get better. And then part of the key to just developing pitchers is being patient with them. It's a tough position. I liken it to being a kicker or, doing something it's completely isolated, and so when a pitcher struggles, he's out there for an inning and he's got to be out there for 30 pitches at a time, potentially in an inning, where there's no going away from that, where a hitter can go up there and, have a bat at bat and it takes 4 pitches and he walks back to the dugout and he gets 3 innings to, recoup before he goes back up there again, where the pitcher doesn't get that opportunity. He's got to he stays on that island. And so, those positions, I think when you're talking about whether it's a pitcher, kicker, a quarterback, you got to be patient with those guys, especially when they're young, because it's a very mentally demanding position. And so you get, that's really what it takes to develop those guys is patience, as well as just identifying guys in the recruiting process that are obviously talented, but have athleticism, maybe played multiple positions. I really like pitchers that have a background in the infield when they're in high school. I think those guys typically have some athleticism and some feel to them when they're on the mound. There's certain, nuances to the game of baseball when you're pitching that can speed up on you if you're a pitcher only or if you have been your whole life. But if you grew up playing shortstop, the game's typically not going to speed up on somebody like that when they're on the mound.
Jake, now that you're a head coach, when you look back to your time at Big Bend Community College, what were you thinking that baseball was at that point in time, and what did you want it to be in your future?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I was back at Big Bend Community College. I mean, I was just, trying to figure out, what I was going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Thankfully, I had really good coaches around me my whole life, even going back to high school. And so I had people that were looking out for me even when I didn't know what I was doing. And so when I was at Big Bend, I was just, trying to extend my baseball playing career. And then I got an opportunity to go to South Dakota State and finish my last 2 years of playing there. And there is when I started to kind of figure out, coaching might be something that I'm interested in. And really the way I figured that out was the guy that was coaching me. He had a way about him and the way he treated the players and how much fun I knew he was having doing it. I never even really thought of a coach like you could. I didn't think you could do that for a living. Really, I always thought of coaches. To that point, my high school coach and my junior college coach, those guys were guys that coached on the side and then had a day job, that they did. And so I always looked at coaching like that until I got to South Dakota State, where I had, a Division I coach, it was obviously full time, and that was his job. And so the light bulb kind of went off for me, like, oh man, I could do this for a living. Right. And so I ended up meeting with him towards the end of my senior year and just said, hey, you know, I'm really looking into getting into coaching, and I want to do this. I want to do what you're doing. How do I do it? And fortunately enough, he had you know, a spot that he could give me the next year as a student assistant, and he did that, and that just kind of helped my career take off from there. Nice. I've always had good people around me, and but yeah, going back to Big Bend, I didn't know what the heck I was going to do when I was there. I was, you know, just like every other 18-year-old at that point.
Jake Angier is with us. He's the new baseball coach at New Mexico State. JG, you don't even know this. I covered Big Bend and Yakima Valley College and Columbia Basin College back in the day, Jake. I used to cover that league and watch that. Hey, you talk about the guys that you've worked with in the past, and you and New Mexico coach Todd Brown, you worked for him. You were the pitching coach. For him as you started your career earlier at North Dakota State. Talk about your relationship there, and I'm going to guess that you probably reached out to him when this job came open and you were being considered. And I don't know that, but I'm going to guess you reached out to him for a little bit of counsel.
I did, yeah, and I talked to Todd regularly, you know, every couple of weeks at least, probably. So we're very close. You know, he was someone that. He gave me my first full-time coaching job, you know, because I was a graduate assistant when I was coaching at South Dakota State. They didn't have full-time assistants at the time. And so, you know, I was a pitching coach, but I was in the same position I had been the last several years, but it was as a grad assistant. So I finished my master's there, and then he offered me my first full-time coaching job at North Dakota State and gave me an opportunity. And really, you know, I credit a lot of the pitching success I've had to him just because you know, he gave me a lot of responsibility probably when I wasn't really ready for it. And, you know, he allowed me, he was patient. I was saying that you need to be with pitchers. And so, you know, I'm forever grateful to him, but yeah, no, we talked about it, and, you know, I've been talking with him about the different, you know, what it's like to live here, and, you know, the differences in recruiting and, you know, stuff like that. And so he'll be helpful, although now
you're rivals.
Trying to beat each other. Yeah,
yeah,
but,
and that's important to your AD. He might have told you that during the process. It's important to your AD to beat your rivals.
That's right. No, we'll be competitive when the time comes.
Hey, Jake, let me ask you this. There's another name that you brought up, Brian Green, who had so much success here, who went from New Mexico State to Washington State and just recently took the job at Wichita State, and you playing in the same league as Washington State. I don't know that you've got any relationship with Brian or had any conversations, but is there anything there? Were you able to talk to him about this job?
Yeah, no, he was kind enough. He sent me a text, you know, when it was out that I got the job. And then I spoke with him over the weekend and had a really good conversation with him. You know, one of the things I think, you know, and just talking with him that he felt like was really good when he was here was the relationship with the alumni and the community. And so that's something that, you know, I want to make sure that we do here. And so I was, you know, talking with him about that. And, you know, he's an alum, so he wants to see this place succeed. So he's all in on doing anything he can to help. And, that's always good when you got people that are past coaches here that want to help you.
No doubt. Jake, appreciate the time. I look forward to meeting you in person. Congratulations on the head coaching gig at New Mexico State, moving your family down. I know there's a big transition, but best of luck to you as you move forward. I know we'll be in touch, but appreciate the time as always.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Be well. He's Jake Angier. Always appreciate guys spending some time with us in a transition like this. I think there's a synergy there. You know, you might not like your coach being friends with their coach, right? But the fact that, you know, him and Todd Brown, the Lobo coach, are tight, the Brian Green piece, and all the success he has, this feels like another good hire by Mario when you look at it. Well, you know, judge it in 2-3 years, but it feels like a pretty good hire.
Yeah, exceptional track record when you look at him being the pitching coach and what he got out of staffs at Sacramento State. I mean, here's time coming up in the Dakotas and then at Oregon, a powerhouse on the West Coast. You have to
don't
really
forget
get
Big
Big
Ben
State.
and Moses Lake, Washington. Yeah. Big Ben and Yakima Valley College and CBC and Spokane Valley and all. Oh, yeah, I know. That's how I grew up, man. That's how I grew up in this business. All right, we're going to reset for you. You can respond to what you heard from Jake Angier as well at 505-246-0610 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Registration is now open for the Lobo Cancer Challenge.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future and get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS
And AM 610, the Sports Animal.
If you want to hear that again, missed Jake Angier, the new baseball coach at New Mexico State, or you want to share it with a friend, it's available wherever you get your podcast. Go to our website, sportsaudiblebq.com, click on the opening drive, and it'll be there for you. It'll be on our social media as well. But appreciate him spending some time with us. All right, NFL camps. So what are we? Today's the 21st, first day of summer. So like a month from now, we're deep in football. We're completely there. You're thinking about your fantasy drafts and all that stuff. Where do running backs stack up? Where are you with running backs? And my sheet here says, is it the end of the line for elite level running backs? That 24/7 has only 5 running backs ranked in the top 100 players out of high school in 2023. I believe we're going to see the pendulum swing back. I believe a versatile running back. Every coach tells you we got to run the ball, right? Every football coach.
Everyone wants them.
Every coach, we got to run the ball, right?
Absolutely.
The thought is that, well, but they're a dime a dozen. I could always find one. That even the elite ones, they're going to get hurt or they're not. Right? We're just going to run them into the ground.
You're not getting the extended value out of the running back position. And that's a battle we're seeing this offseason with guys trying to get that second contract. And these teams feel that they've used up most of the tread on the tire in a rookie deal, and they don't want to overpay. And you can kind of go back to 2020 when a lot of these deals happened, when you saw Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, guys get big contracts, and then you kind of look and saying, are you really getting the fair value out of that when you said it's kind of plug and play dime a dozen, and we've seen that the focal point of these teams, while you want to run the football, it hasn't been superstar running backs.
All right, so Saquon Barkley is one of those guys looking to get his second contract, looking to get paid. He's been franchise tagged. That means he's going to make $10+ million this year. He's got the stats. So the Giants were 8-2 last season when Saquon Barkley rushed for 70 or more yards. They were 7-2 when he had 100+ scrimmage yards. It's a pretty convincing number. The Giants were 0-3 when Saquon Barkley rushed for less than 50 yards. So who does the offense run through, him or Daniel Jones? Right? So he's in a situation where he's not coming to camp. He wants more money. He wants a long-term deal. His quarterback, Daniel Jones, needs his running back. Here's Daniel Jones talking about Saquon's situation.
Saquon, I've said he means a ton to me as a teammate, as a friend, and means a ton to us as a player. So, certainly I won't talk about his business, but that was a piece of it too.
So Daniel Jones said nothing about Saquon's situation, but he knows he needs him. Basically, he says, yeah, he's important. He's my friend, but I won't talk about his situation. As much as I sit here and say they're plug and play, and I'll tell you who their depth chart is. The Giants went to the playoffs last year. The Giants won a playoff game last year. In fact, the Giants won a road playoff game last year. Can the Giants be a playoff team with Matt Breida and Eric Gay and Gary Brightwell as running backs as opposed to Saquon?
I think this offseason, Saquon Barkley is the one guy that does get paid, that does get fairly compensated. When you look at the quarterback contract.
When you say fairly compensated, what does that mean?
I think he'll get a good deal.
12, 13?
I think probably even 14, 15.
Wow.
$1 million. Okay. Like he'll come to those terms. I think when you look at Daniel Jones only being a $160 million quarterback, they're cheap wide receivers on that offense. So there's not a, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase level deal that they're having to hand out. And so I think that's where you'll see him be the guy that's able to get the deal, where I don't think it's going to work out well for Josh Jacobs. It doesn't make sense for the Raiders to overextend him at all, because they're a football team trying to figure out who the heck they're going to be. You don't need to overpay at the running back position. And I just think more times than not, it's going to end up with these guys trying to hold these hardline stances, but realizing, you know what, just go take that money. Even if it's a franchise tag, go get that guaranteed deal, because the long-term extensions, number 2 for running backs, they're going to be few and far between now.
I look at them, so I think that they can be okay. I don't think that they would be a playoff team, because I don't love. I mean, who's their best receiver? Is it Paris Campbell? Is it Darius Slayton? Isaiah Hodgins? Wendell Robinson? Who's their best receiver?
Right now, it's
Sterling
Slayton.
I mean, you got a bunch of guys. Somebody will rise. Paris Campbell's been that guy every year, but he can't stay healthy. Darren Waller's their best receiver, their tight end, if he can stay healthy. But running backs getting paid, it's just not happening. It's kind of crazy to me, though. But you think he's going to be the guy, huh?
I do. just all the factors involved, how important he is to that offense. What he showed last year, and I know he's battled injury, but you can also say, hey, I still have this ceiling to hit in my career. So I think Saquon Barkley will be the running back that benefits, the one that it makes the most sense to make sure that you have him happy for the next couple of years, because he is the most impactful player of that group.
All right, 505-246-0610. You're responding to New Mexico State baseball coach Jake Angier. This says, hi, Coach. How do you plan on getting powerful NMSU back to the big dance? Well, Jeff, that's easy. Like all our other sports, we'll play Dixie State a lot more. The formula for success is at MSU. Thank God for Dixie State. Thanks, Coach. He says, wow. Conference USA, Kennesaw State, Dallas Baptist Church. You wish Dallas Baptist was in there. That's a heck of a baseball school. FIU, Sam Houston, Jacksonville State, NMSU. Exciting. Recruits everywhere dying to participate in that. Tell me the difference between that bleep and the WAC, LOL. Okay. Who represented the WAC this year? Was it Grand Canyon in the NCAAs? I think they went as far as the representative out of the Mountain West, right? I'm just curious. I mean, okay. UNM won the series 2-1 this year. Is that right? I believe that's right too. Play who's in front of you. That's your league, man. Again, I don't recall them ever saying, nope, we don't want to play in your league. I remember you saying we don't want you in our league. Doing the best they can, right? But you play who's in front of you. I mean, that's all you can do. NBA draft is tomorrow. The latest on NBA draft news, or at least rumors, is Dame Lillard on the move? Is Zion on the move? Is Paul George on the move? Who may be moved? What are the hot rumors? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Registration is now open for the Lobo Cancer Challenge. Cancer can affect anyone.
Line drive right at the shortstop for out number 3.
Apodaca ripped to left field. That will bounce in, so it's going to be extra bases as they'll have to chase that one at the wall in the warning track. Flipped up, there's no play at home. So it's an RBI double for Andrew Apodaca. Runner at third. High leverage spot. Can Chavez keep the tie? No, that's going to be cracked into left field. It's a base hit as Love puts the Sandia Matadors ahead for the first time today.
Upstairs goes the backstop, and the run will not score. Gun down at home.
Chavez rocks and fires. Ahmed, that's going to be an RBI for Ahmed as that one right through the gap in right center. Petrie will scoop that one, and it's looking like a triple as Ahmed plugs into third base, and what a way to score that run for the Matadors.
Coach Romero barking out his orders there to his players. He's been around the game for a long time. Nice shot to center field. That'll bring runners in. Just like that, LaCueva will bring 3 runners in to go up 3-0. Runner advances to third. Shot to center. That looks good. That's gone. Man, outstanding center shot there. As LaCueva will score. Antonio Lucero, second baseman. Quite the hitter. Shot to third, and good catch. And she gets the out. Outstanding play by Trinity Bazan. Nice bright spot.
Costly errors allowed Cleveland to get one run back. That one's hit on the ground to the left side. Throw to first in time. Throw home. Got her. Whoa, what a play.
Next door or something. Not sure, but they came out here, and Ellison cracks an RBI out to left field. That's where you got to do it. 1 run, 2.
Trade season, doesn't it? Who's going, who's moving, who's on the block? Let me give you a bunch of names. You tell me who might move. Jaylen Brown, Mikal Bridges, Trae Young. No way, DeJounte Murray, really? Karl Anthony Towns? Zion? Brandon Ingram? Dame Lillard? Former Aggie Pascal Siakam? Any of those guys moving?
No.
Not before the draft or not period?
Not period.
So here's the one that makes sense to me. Portland, if they want to stay with Dame, either trades number 3 overall to and what would you rather have if you're Portland? Zion or Paul George?
Oh.
Because if I'm Portland and I want to stay on the
number 3 pick, I'm going Zion Williamson.
I want to stay on the Dame train, right? And I got him, and he's kind of wavering. I want to be here. All right, let me go get somebody. I've got an asset to go get you someone right now. Do I want Paul George, who you might be able to get from the Clippers for the number 3 in a package? Or look, man, they're looking to move Zion. Zion comes with a lot of uncertainty. He was the Victor Wembanyama of the draft a few years ago, right? I mean, he was the exact same thing. The next great thing in the NBA. He's got a big contract. He's got a lot of doubts in regards to his work ethic. Now he's got a adult film star bribing him. Who do you want? Or do you want any of it?
If I'm trading number 3,
yeah,
I'm taking my chances on Zion.
I think you're right.
Of the ceiling, and believe there's a longer window with Zion.
I think you're right.
And that's why you can't quit some of these dudes. Now, the one thing that would hold me back is it's known. It's out there. If Zion doesn't want to be great, then I'm not trading for Zion.
Well, then that's the conversation
if it's just,
you have to have, right?
Yeah, if he's just had really bad luck with injuries, so be it. But if it is, he really isn't putting the time, he's not working hard enough to get his body back, he's not working hard enough to get in shape after the fact, then I'm taking Paul George.
Well, I don't know where the timing is, and you would have had to do it before, today or yesterday. But if you're considering that, wouldn't you fly out to wherever Zion is and sit down with him? You're the general manager, you're the head coach, you're the decision makers at Portland, and I'm sitting across the table from him. Or you think you're just taking a chance on?
I don't know if you could even do that.
Well, you'd have to have the permission of the Pelicans to do that, right? I mean, and I don't know if that stuff can happen in secrecy anymore because everybody knows everything. But before I'm going to make that trade for that dude, I need to look him in the eye. I need to know where he is. I want to talk to him about work ethic. Everybody says this. Is it true? I want to talk to him about porn stars. I mean, not in that way. That specific porn star, right? I want to dude, I'm willing to give you a fresh start. You can come up here. You can play with one of the best players in the game. Like Dame Lillard and Zion, if you just go by flat out potential, dude, they could be special. Think of him dominating inside, Dame Lillard.
And here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
If New Orleans is willing to trade Zion Williamson, then I'm not trading for Zion. Is New Orleans just tired of Zion?
Yeah.
Because they were the number 2 team before he got hurt in the Western Conference.
I understood. There could be some fatigue there.
If I'm New Orleans and
why?
I believe in Zion, but if I don't believe in him, then I think my biggest thing too is if they don't believe in him, why should we? That would be the
that's a big trap. That's why you got to sit across the table from.
And that would absolutely be game changing.
This happens all the time, JJ, where one team says, well, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
And look, it could be suicide. It could be the worst thing they ever do. Now, they've got a history at number 3 in the draft of taking Sam Bowie and Greg Odom. Portland does. And while Sam Bowie might have been a nice player, they took him instead of Michael Jordan. Did they take Odom instead of, I think it was 2 in the draft. Did they take him before Kevin Durant?
They did.
Yeah. They got a history of screwing this pickup. Now, it doesn't mean history has to repeat itself. Look, teams all the time say, all right, we'll fix that guy. We'll get him up here and I'm going to be able to get to him. I'll get him into the right work ethic. I will get him to lose weight. I will get him off the porn stars. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. What? You don't think he can lose weight? So, why are you laughing at me like that?
It's just so hard. That story is so wild, and
that story ain't over, by the way.
Oh, it definitely isn't. But you got to look at it like Portland is probably a safer city for him than New Orleans. If you are trying to get away from the off-field stuff, that might be a better option.
Mm-hmm. And you got a pro like Dame Lillard to kind of say, all right, here's how it's going to be. Who's that guy in New Orleans? Is it CJ McCollum?
CJ McCollum.
Yeah. Who was with Dame Lillard for all those years? Yeah.
Brandon Ingram. Like these are.
I don't know if Brandon Ingram as much as CJ McCollum though.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram's proven it, dude. Like he's.
I like him.
Putting in the time. He's putting in the work. His game is fantastic.
He's proven himself.
Figure it out with those guys. Then that's
so
all, this is all on Zion right now. But Portland and New Orleans, they have a history. So that line of communication is open because
there's a CJ
McCollum
deal.
went from Portland to New Orleans.
Yeah. All right, so you're sitting in Portland right now. You're running that team. Are you on the phone with them right now? Or you say I don't want him, then are you trying to get Paul George?
I'm starting with Zion.
Yeah.
Because that is the highest ceiling. Biggest bang for your buck for a number 3 pick.
But there's such a huge risk.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the risk even at number 3, Zion Williamson versus missing on Scoot Henderson. Okay, I'm still taking my chances on Zion. And then I'm turning my attention to Paul George and the Clippers because number 3 for Paul George, yeah, because it's about maximizing right now. And if you're Dame Lillard, you bring in Paul George, you can at least compete in the Western Conference, and that's what Dame Lillard says he wants to do: win, compete, get to the playoffs. Dame Lillard, Paul George, and then your Yusuf Nurkic, your other pieces that have developed. You got some decent wing guys there, and get you to the playoffs. And it's not what you want to do. Everyone wants to try to win a championship, but you got to get in to get there.
Can I throw a total wild card at you? What about Jaylen Brown? Now, I know he's eligible for a Supermax. Would you call the Celtics and see if they're interested in 3 for Jaylen Brown?
Yes.
Would the Celtics look at that?
Because that's the one thing I don't think happens. I think if I'm Boston, if I'm maxing 2 guys, I believe in Brown and Tatum because.
But are you maxing 2 guys?
As frustrating as it was, like this is a team that's been to the NBA Finals, that Eastern Conference Finals appearance fell in a hole, won 3 in a row. You figure a full offseason understanding who Joe Mazzulla is as a coach, not having we let go of our coach for off-court in facility issues. Here's Joe Mazzulla, but then we extend him towards the end of the season. Like that is still a fantastic team with Brown and Tatum.
I don't know that I think that they're willing to max 2 guys there. I mean, that is one of the most interesting situations to me because they're so close. Because they were in the finals last year, they were in the conference finals this year. But yet they didn't win, they didn't get over the hump. Tatum's their 1, Jaylen Brown's their 2. Are they maxing out 2? Are they good enough to get over the hump? You figure Giannis is healthy next year, here comes Milwaukee. Miami's talking about making all kinds of moves. Philly seems like they're right there. The Knicks are getting better. Are you Boston? You're committing to Jaylen Brown and Tatum, or do you say, you know what, I can get numbers. I can get Scoot Henderson. He's cheaper. That gives me cap space. I can do a lot more stuff now. I trade him to Portland. Portland's in a spot right now where it feels
Portland. I'm calling everybody.
Yeah,
because
they don't need that 3 pick.
Zion Williamson, Paul George, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
for number 3, that is a huge win for Portland.
And you think that there would be a market for that, right?
It's intriguing.
I mean,
like
it is.
It's now.
Well, New Orleans is the one that's been vocal, or at least everybody's been vocal for them about wanting to trade into the top 3. And the biggest upside, I don't know.
Not even if you just take out Scoot Henderson, like what if one of the Thompson twins or 6'7" wings, someone else is on the board, and you're still getting a top 3 player in the draft, a top 3 pick, and probably you're trading a player like that. You're not just getting number 3, like you'll get some future first as well.
That's right.
They're adding to your arsenal.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over the phone if I'm Portland. All right, 505-246-0610. Still have time for you to jump in today. That's the 377 Brewery hotline. Dallas Baptist, it says, is a member in Conference USA beginning this year. That's a great baseball program. I mean, you can laugh at them all you want. I would argue, is Dallas Baptist as good, if not better, than any baseball program in the Mountain West?
Very good.
Go look at their history. Go look at what Dallas Baptist has done in the NCAA regionals and stuff. That's a terrific baseball program. All right, we're going to wrap you up. I'm everything you need to know as you head through your day, and I'll get your correspondence when we come back. John Thomas Jewelers is different in such a good way. The best jewelry store I've been into, period. And I say this because the service, the selection, the affordability, the customability, like they do more custom jewelry in a week than most jewelers do in a year because they do it right there on premises. And that's why it's so affordable. They've got high-end jewelers. They've got a beautiful repair and design shop right there. And if you're looking for that special piece, whether it's an engagement ring or an anniversary gift or just something that says, I love you, and you're looking for that special piece of jewelry, go see John. It's 3rd floor, Lewis University building. It's across the street from the Coronado Mall to the east on Louisiana, 1 block south of Banal. When you walk in, you're going to realize it's different. You're just going to realize how different it is. They'll walk you through this customization, and you're like, I don't know how to do this. It's a blind spot. Yeah, me too. But they make it comfortable, and you're going to know what you like, and you're going to know what you don't like, and they're going to walk you through the whole process, and you're going to love it, and she's going to love it, and it's going to be yours forever. Now, with every purchase of $5,999 or more, they're giving away a 7-night all-inclusive trip to the Dominican Republic. Ideal for couples who are getting engaged. You get the ring and you get the honeymoon. It's ideal for couples who are looking to celebrate an anniversary because you get jewelry and a trip. It's ideal for anyone looking to get away. Look, this isn't a contest. This is with any purchase of $59.99, you get the trip, the drinks, the food, the destination, while supplies last. Go see John over at John Thomas Jewelers. It's johnthomasjewelers.com. 3rd floor, Lewis University building, directly across the street from the Coronado Mall to the east on Louisiana, 1 block south of Manal. John Thomas Jewelers. If you can dream it, they will make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your coverage from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what?
Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
All right, what's big headed into your Wednesday? This just dropped. Bruce Brown, pivotal, one of the catalysts in the Nuggets run to the NBA championship, has declined his player option. He had a $6.8 million player option. He will become an unrestricted free agent. And the way I understand this is because the Nuggets didn't establish early bird rights, they can only offer him $7.8 million for next season. So there's a good chance that Bruce Brown will be somewhere else. Nugget fan, how you feeling about that? It's a big loss if you lose him, no?
Business.
It is business.
Man up. Go out there and find the next Bruce Brown.
Okay.
The right move for him.
100%.
Get a pay raise. Get a longer-term deal if it's possible. And if you're Denver, these are the choices that you want to have to make, is losing good players because they might be more expensive. And that's also why you saw Denver make that trade, which everyone kind of was left scratching your head. Like, what are you trading Oklahoma City for just draft pick? Because you're trying to find Christian Brown, who they drafted back into the first round, who came in and had a couple good games in the playoffs. You're trying to find the next rotation piece because you got to start working around the edges when you're a good basketball team.
When you win championships, dudes get paid. That's what happens. You can't keep everybody together all the time. And so we'll say they'll probably attempt to keep him, but I don't know that $7.8 million annually is going to do it. So you'll watch that. What else you got? Watch the trade rumors today. Blazers are looking at Bam Adebayo. Meanwhile, Bam Adebayo's team is looking at Damian Lillard. They're both looking at each other like, I want your guy. I want your guy. Can't trade him straight up. Which team's going to go all in? And that may be why nothing gets done there. And the Blazers have options, man. The Blazers have the number 3 pick. A lot of people may want that number 3 pick, and there may be places to move that number 3 pick. So just keep an eye on that as we go through the day. New Mexico United plays tonight. They are at home against Phoenix. The rivalry with Phoenix rising, and that'll be out at the ball pitch tonight. They'll go at, I believe, 7 o'clock tonight. Do you know United has not won in over a month? Oof. They are in 10th place out of 12 in their division. 8 teams make the playoffs. Last win was May 17. And at least the last USL championship, their league win. New Mexico United is 0-2-1 in the month of June. Their last win was at Loudoun, May 17. Now, Phoenix isn't killing it either. They're 0-2-2 in their last 4. They haven't won in a month either. Their last win was May 20. So am I looking at a draw tonight? Is that what it 1-1 draw?
Oh, that would be probably the best bet.
I mean, right? These two usually put on a show with Phoenix. You going out tonight? Maybe? You don't have to.
We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. All right. I don't want to tell people where JJ Buck is, man. The entourage just shows up. You say JJ's going to be there, and then all the chicks show up, and it's you got to fight them off. No, I understand. I believe me, I get it. All right, so that's what you got to know. Gene's in on the email machine. When Coach Talk a Lot beat Dallas Baptist, you think Lobo baseball was the city at the city limits of Omaha? Yeah, I remember that. That was a big deal. And then Gopher told me Lobo and New Mexico baseball split 2-2 this season. Okay. Help is on the way, Richard says. Jeff, for the last few years on the OD, all we heard, Rockies suck at the MLB. Haven't I read this 15 times? They suck at the big league and AAA level, but AA is where JJ's organization shines. Well, the Yard Goats are 9 lengths below 500. Where's that Hartford help coming from? I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is. A bunch of you were in on the Isotopes this week. Gene says a big week for Isotopes in the Chihuahuas. Is it? Jeff, it's been a long time since we had meaningful baseball games around here in July. But a reset PCL, you'll have 2 squads desperately trying to turn around a disappointing first half and get positioned for a state tournament run. It doesn't mean anything until they turn it around. Until the first half ends and you reset. Harold's concerned about Lobo volleyball, JJ. Haven't seen the schedule yet. Remember, they usually kick off first, not Lobo football. We'd normally be just more than a month away from Coach Tom Paul Glazer taking a pitch as a friendly. What are you concerned about? That you haven't seen the schedule? I'm not even sure. Tellis is in testing Sushan. Says, Jeff, a couple of weeks ago, Josh said when the club isn't playing well, he has to pinch himself to remember he gets paid to call baseball. Yesterday was one of those days. It was an early post time, cold day in Reno where nobody was in the gym. You're tired in the middle of a long road trip. The team's getting blued out of the built. You can only talk about 4th of July fireworks so many times. P.S. How do you feel about the challenge system? I'm indifferent. How do you feel about the challenge system in baseball?
If you're using automated balls and strikes, you should just use it. But I understand because it's not in Major League Baseball yet how you can't have umpires not still calling balls and strikes because there could be a chance for them to fill someone's spot and go up. So it's kind of covering all your bases.
I'm indifferent. I'm fine with it. Tellis says the cameras equal stadium. Jeffrey, Juan Jose, Derek Charles. Remember the red light cameras? Voters said remove them. But since they're now a block up the road instead of right in the intersection, somehow that makes them okay. Since the proposed stadium is a mile or 2 away from the previous rumored but never confirmed rejected location, does that void the result of the election? I guess. Basically what he's saying is voters said, I don't want cameras, but we got them. And he's saying the voters said, we don't want to pay for a stadium, but we're getting one anyway. I see what you did there. Okay. Ron's in on Dennis Latta, the former Albuquerque Journal writer who passed away last week. This is interesting. He says, Jeff, how much of the popularity of the local media in those days was because games were actually on TV, especially the road contests? You watched the game, so the next day you wanted to read Dennis, Richard Stevens, John O'Rourke, etc., comment on them. When the games are not on TV, when you got to go find them on the net somewhere with 50 different logins and passwords, it's like the teams are out of sight and out of mind. It's from Ron. Ron, I don't know that I think that's right. Now every game's on TV. Every game's available to you. And by the way, how do we define
every Lobo men's basketball conference game televised?
Well, if it wasn't, there were a few that were streamed, but every conference game was on, I believe every one of them was on CBS Sports Net or Fox FS1. Every one. So how do we define logins and like internet streams? FS1, CBS Sports Net, do we not define that as basic cable subscription TV? Is it not better that every game's on TV now? I know you have to work a little harder to find it. It's not on channel 13 after the news tape delayed. But is it not better because it's more available now? Like every home game against Montana State or West Texas A&M or San Diego State, you can watch on TV if you don't go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can watch on your computer if on a stream, on your phone, whatever. I mean, I get it. It's challenging you a little bit more to go find where it is. It's like in 3 different spots.
I do. Was that an email?
Yeah.
I do get a kick out of people emailing and like, oh, this computer, you're on a computer doing it right now.
Yeah.
And I get maybe not the most comfortable thing, but it's not the majority of the games that you watch.
The majority of games last year were either on CBS Sportsnet or FS1. I think every single league game, if I'm not mistaken, there might have been 1 or 2 that were on a stream somewhere. But I'm almost certain every one of them was on that package. Thank you to Jake Angier. He's the new baseball coach at New Mexico State. He was with us today. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On comes your way at 4. And then you get the Isotopes in Reno tonight. Josh Sushan will have that call. We're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio starting at 7 a.m. Adrian, show looks great on TV. Thank you. DC, great job. As always, appreciate you. Big day for you.
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These are more than just the sound of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your check